Hey there viewers, my name's Torinski and welcome back to another Sunday stream. Today we're going to be jumping back into our attempts to try and win with every species of the game, celebrate the first stream of the new year with hopefully a continuation of the little baby win streak that we just managed to get started last session. So hopefully we can see some good luck because today we're jumping in with Spriggans. Spriggans are a species that I used to play a whole lot back in the day. It's been a while since I played one, so I'm slightly concerned about our ability to survive because, as we saw at the very tail end of last stream, we're going to be dealing with a serious dearth of health. Minus 40% modifier on overall HP definitely hurts a bit, only on par with Felids. So, without further ado, we'll get ready to hop into it here with a good old Spriggan. So as is described in the little blurb here, they are a tiny race, which means we get to benefit from some things, higher evasion and higher stealth scores, which is pretty sweet. But unfortunately, it means that we're blocked off from using any of the bigger pieces of equipment. A lot of the kind of medium-sized equipment becomes two-handed rather than one. And in a similar way, large shields aren't going to cut it. Most armors don't fit on Spriggan at all, so we're going to be struggling a little bit with defensive capabilities, just crossing our fingers and hoping that that evasion pulls us through. We fortunately do also get keen eyesight, so we get to see invisible right off the bat, which is nice. And the main benefit, the main positive of playing a Spriggan is our move speed. We move a lot more quickly across the dungeon than most other critters, which means we can do a lot of kiting and, more importantly, a lot of running away, since that is usually a very solid strat in this game for staying alive. So we're going to go off the suggestion that we got from Safid last week during the stream, and we're going to go with the Brigand start here and hopefully be able to use that kiting to its full advantage and soften up most of these enemies before they get into range to one-shot us. At least that's the plan, but we'll see how it goes. I was trying to brainstorm some name ideas. It's like juggling around. We could go the elf angle because they're like pretty much tiny elves, these little fairy creatures. I believe it is even written somewhere that they're related to elves. So maybe somewhere on that side, the fairy angle also kind of works. If you can't tell by how much I'm stalling this out, I didn't quite come to a conclusion as to how we wanted to play it, but maybe we'll go with something a little straightforward here. Oh, dang it. I have one of these selected, so I'm not going to be able to do spacebar. At least I remembered it this time. I'm so used to accidentally hitting space, selecting begin, and I only have half the name down. But let's go with Safid on the shelf, maybe? As you can see, I struggle a whole lot when the namesake of this character isn't here to supply me with clever names to use, but we'll go for it. A little bit past the season for Elf on the Shelf, but I thought it was appropriate with the small fairy angle here. And we will immediately drop a quick morgue file. Oops. And pop over here just so we can grab the seed so that if anybody wishes to play along on their own at home, you can do so. I'm always curious what exactly stays consistent, what gets changed, because I know last week specifically we were on Genie, which have a whole lot of variability between the seeds. I think just dungeon layout is the same there, which is interesting. But there we are. There we have it. Now we can get ready to hop in, starting with our skills. We could immediately try and name a short blade. Nice name. Not quite as good as something you could come up with, I'm sure, Save It, but I was struggling a little bit, to say the least. But hopefully we got there, and we can do your name justice on this run. Spriggan, if the unthinkable happens, perhaps. I like it. There we go. Now all the much better names than I could come up with popping into chat. I appreciate it so much. Makes my job a whole lot easier. I'm not great at being creative on the spot. And, this is a bit of a tricky one, because normally we're just put on weapon skill or put on your most used spell school. Pretty easy to decide where you want to start off the training. With a thrower like this, it's a little more up in the air. We don't have to train short blades for a while. We could just resort to hopefully getting some stabs there and otherwise resort to training up throwing for any of the big meteor targets that might actually give us some trouble. We can give it a shot, and we can always go in there and change it all up at runtime. Unfortunately, we won't be able to use javelins at all, usually one of our go-to throwing tools, but they are just too big for our poor little buddy here. So we'll have to see how all that shakes out in the long run. And with that, we're ready to get started. Slightly nervous for the Spriggan here. Not a species you want to start on when you're streaking normally. I feel like you're quite at risk of ending it all, but if we can just poison this buddy, just poison this buddy. No, okay, that's fine. We'll run away a little bit. Can at least kill the rat the old-fashioned way, and there we go. We finally get one of the darts to stick, and we can just run away. So right away here, you can see the strat that we'll be employing for a decent amount of the run here. Just run away. Dart slug, I will fight real quick while we have them in close quarters combat, and wow, those are a lot of snakes. Not a great start. We can run away a bit still, so that generally works out to our favor. Ooh, I have backed myself into a corner. No, and I'm not going to be getting out of said corner. Whoops. So, we're also relying on the fact that we got to start off with Brigand here on the +2 dagger. Helps out a great deal with some of the early damage. Ooh, I didn't manage to pick up any of my poison darts. That's not great. We'll use 1 Curari, maybe 2. I was hoping to take down the Hobgoblin with a weapon. That's fine. We can now just run around in a quick circle, a loop around, pick up some of these darts, and hopefully hit one of these 50% shots. There we go. Ooze coming out of the woodwork to give us some trouble next. Are you poison resistant? I believe you are. So this is going to be a little bit tough. Just 3 damage. Not too much, but it goes by real quick on a Spriggan. Oh my gosh, please stop. So many enemies. And you stepped away. Are we a stabber or a shooter? We are probably going to be doing a decent amount of shooting here, trying to take advantage of our speed and good throwing abilities here. Ooh, let's not accidentally back myself into a corner though. That would be bad. And still kind of run away. Heal up a little bit so we're not just a couple hits away from death. That might be nice. Oh, and there were some stones here that I did not notice. That's perfect. So now we have some method of dealing with even these poison resistant enemies. Okay, I had to check my music there. I was worried it was glitched out for a moment. But there we are, the beautiful tunes of Adrian Talons back online. And you think the plan is for both? Honestly, that's probably a little bit more accurate, because we will be doing our fair share of stabbing when applicable. It'd be nice if we get the opportunity to get a lot of those backstabs early on here. Definitely makes our life a whole lot easier. But of course, in order to play heavy backstabber, you do have to get lucky and have most of your enemies not wake up, which hasn't been the start we've seen so far. So that does lead me into the question of who do we want to worship on this run, because there isn't a really kind of go-to deity that we necessarily desperately want to get our hands on. I think we're going to be playing it by ear. If we want to go and play up the stabbing angle, we could try Wujian Council again. That went really well on our kobold who did a decent amount of stabbing. Alternatively, you know me. I'm always happy to go Zeg on any character. I think any character benefits pretty nicely off of a little bit of greed in their life. But for now, we'll be throwing, using our rocks. I guess not much chance of me ever sneaking up on someone when I'm just constantly throwing the second we come into sight range, so that might be something you keep in mind for the future, depending on how this all plays out. But for now, not a huge deal in D1. Ooh, and we get an early spellbook, which is actually fantastic. Oops, there we go. Accidentally stepping into trouble. Don't want to do that. And we actually got 2 spellbooks, so this is spectacular. Not too much useful in that first one. We could use Wereblood pretty easily if just because of our aptitudes in the school, but not likely to be huge for us. But we also get swiftness, invisibility, and pass wall. That's kind of interesting. Specifically, swiftness makes us ridiculously quick on our feet, and invisibility obviously helps the backstab angle if we do end up playing into that. Though I don't want to besmirch the fact that we also found the buckler there, which is pretty huge. It's the only shield that we're able to use on this character, so if we want to go the shield route, that's going to be crucial. Fated Altar, perhaps. You know what, that would help with my indecision, wouldn't it? Definitely makes my job a little bit easier. One day you'll play your crossbow-wielding Spriggan Bandit, Dirty Fairy. Do you feel lucky, Zot? Well, do you? That is fantastic. Those are the type of runs that I don't find myself doing as often, but I used to absolutely adore. Just any kind of theme is a whole lot of fun to work with. Okie dokie, we're on to D2. So many endoplasms. Holy cow. Was hoping for something a little bit easier. That's fine. Against one of our first kobolds with a weapon, I'm going to switch over to poison. Just take them out the easy way. Beautiful. And I guess we'll let the dungeon decide to a certain extent what we end up doing here, just to see if we do end up finding an early Fated Altar, or perhaps we could even find an early altar. I mean, we could always worship somebody new this time around. We haven't had the chance or the opportunity to worship Dithmenos yet, and that's the kind of traditional god of stealth. And Dithmenos also synergizes pretty well with a thrower, because one of the abilities that we unlock at higher piety levels with them is the ability to double up any of our actions, like throwing things. I believe. It's been a while, but I know that I use that mechanic in really fun ways, because not only does it work on throwing, it also works on simple spells. So I've definitely had the opportunity in the past to be doubling up like magic darts and zaps, which is a whole lot of fun. We find Oka for free ammo though, that's the other huge contender for sure. So we found a Fated Altar. Do we want to risk it? I'm trying to think if there are any gods that would be objectively bad to get on a Spriggan here. I mean, there are some that would just be bad because I'm not used to them. Elivion? I think that's how that's said. I need the word in front of me. Elivion wouldn't be great, but at least has the upside of being able to switch over to any of the other good gods fairly easily. Quaslaw would be very bad, because we don't want to make that much noise. Our only benefit is that we can kind of get out of situations without drawing too much attention to ourselves. And the other bad one is Chebriados, because it gets rid of the only real advantage that we have as a Spriggan, and we don't gain piety quite as fast because of our natural speed. But it's the first day back, let's do this. Can I tell which god this altar belongs to? I believe. It'll be great. Ooh, and we get red. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. It's a deity that I don't have much practice in whatsoever. I have a little bit of cursory knowledge, if just because people like Night Settler have been playing red on the trunk side to try out some of the changes. We can animate remains, we can recall our undead army. It's going to be interesting at the very least. But excited to give it a shot. And here we're finally getting all of the stab luck in one fell swoop, taking care of all the remaining monsters on the level. Sorry, scratch that. Most of the remaining monsters on the level. And we hear the sound of rushing water. So there's a sewer on this level. Bit of an interesting fight here. I mean, obviously we don't necessarily want to take this fight. We're not in a great position. But we are lucky that there are no priests in that pack, because the main dangers that we're going to be looking out for, especially early on a Spriggan character, is anything that can ignore evasion and or hit hard. And unfortunately, orc priests kind of hit both categories there. So we hear the slow rusting of a distant drain, which, as we all know, contrary to what it may seem on first blush, means that we're quite close to the sewer entrance here. So I'm gonna do some circles around the starting area. Maybe we can try and ignore those monsters for the time being. Ooh, poison darts. Finally, a way to one-up our supply here. Fantastic. And now we're definitely playing a little risky here by running around with low health. We did get the sewer drain is nearby message, so we're on the right track at the very least. Ah, and there it is. Let's switch over to our poison darts. Try and take care of this buddy nice and quick. We won't be able to use poison for these buddies. I forgot how hard you hit. Oh, that was almost embarrassing. So what we probably should have done here was raise the corpse of that kobold. It's going to take me a minute to wrap my head around actually taking full advantage of Ruet, just because I'm not used to them. That might have been smart. Also, I thought because you're green, you're resistant to poison. It's definitely just hard baked into my mind. But you are not, in fact, so definitely try and stack up some of that. Always could resort to Curari if things get dire here, but a bit less of a necessity if just because we have that speed and we can run away the moment that things start even trending to the dangerous side. But is that all of the guardians? Just about. Let's try animating remains. We're gonna have to do some training before we get there. So invocations, maybe we'll pop on right away. Bring it up at least to 8. See how that treats us. Oops. Auto explore, causing some minor issues there. Can at least have this buddy waiting for us when we come back out, and let's head in, shall we? Ooh, and definitely a little rough here. Another example of a situation that takes away that greatest advantage that we hold. Especially with this rat waking up immediately. That's not great. 58% chance to hit. Okay, we got very lucky there. Try and take them down while the Curari's in effect, and we'll do a similar thing this direction. Fantastic. Slightly risky in terms of accidentally mulching our greatest ammunition early on here, but definitely worth it. It keeps us alive. And that situation was not exactly a guarantee for success. I'm also going to use Curari to uptick the poison level on this son of a gun, trying to get that going, because they are, of course, poisoning us back, and poison, if they do manage to hit, it's not a great look on us. Don't have much health for it to chunk through before it's absolutely brutal. There we go, we just got the next abilities from Ruet, so we can recall our undead to us, and we can also mirror injuries onto our foes. The mirroring injuries probably not going to be taken advantage of too much, if just because we don't have a lot of health pool to take the hits with. But in certain situations here, it might be the little bit that we need to eke an advantage. Gonna run away a bit once we wake up the entire horde, because that was more attention than I was hoping to find ourselves in. We can just kill some of these buddies though. I'm hoping that they leave bodies. Not this time. That's fine. We'll instead just let our ally go. Note that Kobold Skeleton had a bit of an issue. You know, we'll tab through for a little bit here, not worry quite as much about it. And there we go. We have some soldiers for the army now. We're going to be leaving them behind anytime we explore the level, just because they're not quite quick enough to keep up with us. But now that we have the added ability to recall them to our side, it kind of makes them as a nice little panic button. Almost like reading a really crappy summoning scroll. So we'll see how this goes. We could even recall our warriors to us. We can't take them between floors, so there's almost no reason not to. Oh, whoops, we did get them. Hello, friends. Fight for your master. You know what, you all did great. You did the best you could, and that's all we can really ask for. Yeah, it was a decently quick sewer, large because of the layout there. Not a whole lot to work with. Did mean some quick identification on some very crucial... Ooh, hello, Terrence. Crucial potions, which is very good. Sorry, got a bit distracted by the sudden Terrence. But we'll switch over to our Curari, and if he wakes up as we walk forward, which he of course does, we can finish off the fight fairly easy with just some poison. Fantastic. Can even bring you to our side to follow us beyond death. And overall, still not going too badly here. Very lucky start, none of the truly scary monsters yet, though I'm ready for that to change at a moment's notice. But we'll see what happens as we continue on here. Ooh, early necklace could be huge, as is getting the lucky stab on the adder. And amulets of the acrobat are quite good on the Spriggan. As we've mentioned multiple times already today, we've been exclaiming the idea that we can always run away from our problems, and with a bit of added evasion anytime we have to do that, it'll definitely help out a great deal. And so I think we'll keep pumping up our dexterity, going kind of full evasion, full thrower build here. The only armor types that Spriggans are able to use are robes, animal skins, troll leather armor, and dragon scales. So we don't have a whole lot of options at our disposal, especially considering the fact that dragon scales can be hard to get running with our low strength by default. Not to discount them out entirely though, you never know when they might come in handy. And it's nice not have to worry about wizards going invisible, though I'm not at a great place health-wise with a very unlucky roll and a lucky roll for the wizard. We are dead from a fire bolt there, but we managed to get one over on them, and we'll continue on in one piece. Not too bad. And here's the scariest thing you'll ever find in the early dungeon on a Spriggan. Definitely deserves our Curari. Unfortunately, the Curari doesn't help in terms of the slowing mechanic quite as much as we could otherwise expect, but just to get that extra damage ticking, I'll do anything at my disposal to take down an Orc Priest in a quick and concise way. Ooh, centaurs can be scary. Fortunately, we're one of the only creatures in the dungeon that can outrun a centaur, so we will take advantage of that, maybe even run up to them here, just so that we're taking slightly less damage, though as you can see, oh boy, still hurts quite a bit here with that 7+3 damage. We are in lethal range, unfortunately. Probably should have thought about this fight slightly more before getting into it. Like, we shouldn't have been slashing, we could have been throwing our poison darts, using that Curari nice and early here. But we'll drink a curing, which almost looks like a heal wounds potions when your health total is sitting around this point. And we will use one of those Curaris right away, stack on some more poison on top of that, and just trying to get this process going as quickly as possible. Oh, beautiful. We don't mulch the Curari dart quite yet either, which is solid. But back to the usual routine here, quickly killing things while we run our way. Oh, hello, Pickle. With a wand of paralysis, that's quite bad. Can I sneak a shot past? No. This is probably going to be the hardest character yet to fulfill my self-inflicted missions here. Not killing the lemurs and instead going straight for Pickle here. The main evil of the whole situation. Oh no. Can you listen to orders, zombie? You can. Okay, run away from the lemurs, please. Don't kill them. Don't you kill them. Beautiful. Okay, our iguana died. Normally a bad thing, but right now, I'd much rather my mindless slave bodies get killed than theirs. In fact, when I put it that way, I guess I'm not that much better than Pickle at the moment, am I? But we'll ignore that, of course, because we are always the heroes of our own story, regardless of what the facts may say about the matter. And let's just try and sneak our way around this way and see if there's another opening. Okay, there is not. Well, that's going to make things interesting. It's funny because I also said that we're going to struggle with getting around to just kill Pickle and not the spirits that he has enslaved here. But that's not all entirely an accurate representation, because at the end of the day we do have the speed, at least this time, to run away from them, which is a liberty that we aren't usually able to take advantage of. So we can hopefully just run circles until we find Pickle alone. I would like to get my Curari Dart back if possible. Hello friends, we can fight all you the old-fashioned way. Let's pick this son of a gun up. Okay, so Pickle must have followed us. We could leave Pickle for now. In fact, yeah, there's not a whole lot of impetus for us to actually hunt them down. So, for the time being, let's just leave. Let's head on down. We're not leaving Pickle at the top of a stair in a dangerous position, so we should be okay to just get back on our feet here. Oops. Didn't actually mean to throw my Curari there. I hope we didn't mulch it, because otherwise that is a little embarrassing. Not a great start. And I mulched it. Oh no. Not great. But that's fine. As long as we still have our poison darts, we can still do our usual kiting strategy just fine. Only at a slight disadvantage. You know what? Should have given you slightly more of a wide berth as well. See, we're even faster than adders, which is pretty huge. Helps out a great deal. Also, keep forgetting, should be rezzing all of these. Are there still skeletons here? There are. Beautiful. Ooh, and a jib carrying a wand of acid. That's not great. That is very scary. I think I will still risk going in for the backstab, which we get lucky with and managed to pull off, but was in no way guaranteed there. And just one bad hit from that acid wand would have been a huge problem. But we can stack up some poison and then hang out with all of our allies, and as soon as we start getting low health, let them take over, doing a fantastic work, buddy. Or doing fantastic work, buddies, really. What I meant to say. Fantastic, love to see it. And we're back on the road. Dagger, Venom, and a Vorpal Trident. In fact, we picked up this Dagger of Electrocution earlier, but haven't gone around to actually using it. Might be prudent to do so. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was a lot harder than it had to be, but I will take this Dagger of Venom as our other kind of weapon replacement here. We should not step into a trident hit like that. That's very bad form. My bad. Go a jib, you can do it. Oh my gosh. Zombie a jib OP? Definitely have to nerf that. Fantastic though, you love to see it. Let's bring everyone back to our side here. We also didn't take note of a bit ago when we gained some more Red given abilities. So let's take a quick peek at that. We can animate Legions of the Dead, so this is how we're not always just doing one anymore. We're able to just rise all the dead bodies in the surrounding area, so that's awesome. And Red will gift us with servants as we gain piety, so we'll get some for free as well. Always nice to have a few meat shields, especially when we're planning on running away so often. They'll be able to cover our back nicely. It's always optimal play when it works. You know, that's the type of attitude we look for here. That's exactly how I feel about it. And not just because it's highly unlikely that I'll actually do optimal plays and I just end up getting lucky a lot of the time. No, there's no way that has even the slightest bit of bearing in my mission statement. Let's spread some poison throughout the party here. Just trying to get all these sons of guns softened up before the big day. Beautiful. Can even try and plan to miss a little bit here. It's working out for us. Oh my gosh, this Kobold Brigand. 58% chance to hit. Apparently completely unhittable. incredible stuff. But we chunk through the crowd here, and then let's see if we raise a legion. Fantastic. Ooh, and our first ogre. So ogres, definitely slightly scary, but one of the more easily kited creatures in the game here. So, can very much take advantage of that. In fact, our zombies can do a lot of the work for us. Let's give them a chance to shine. Beautiful work. The kobold horde doing as well as promised. Whoops, let's not throw in our kobold's direction. We can instead use F period to make sure that the dart starts and ends on our iguana pal. We just stack up all the poison in the world. Beautiful. And then raise your corpse. Corpses here. Oh, we did get an ogre corpse. That's fantastic. And a manual of translocations is pretty wild, because if we ever end up training this, we have a +8 aptitude, so that's going to go up exceptionally fast. We might as well even check our spellbook to see if we can use it immediately here. Apportation is going to be really nice in the future to potentially ninja runes, which is something we're a bit more at liberty to do with our increased speed. Otherwise, no translocations yet. I guess, wait, pass wall. Oh, pass wall is not, it's transmutation. That makes sense thematically, but okie dokie, good to know. So we'll see how that works moving forward. Oh, these zombies are gonna be exceptionally useful, but also extremely annoying. Nice mix of the two. The centaur zombie, on the other hand, we won't worry too much about. Ooh, a regular centaur, though. Immediately murders our poor zombie friend. Okay, how do we take care of you this time? Still want to just close the distance as soon as we possibly can. Oh, if we find them again. No idea where they went. More centaurs, of course. Oh geez, quite the crowd we're gathering, which means we do have to start running. The centaur shooting arrows as we go is quite scary, but thankfully with our 35 evasion, we're doing okay. If we quickly check, they have a 16% chance to hit, so not bad odds, but still a wee bit scary as we take some hits at the end there. Jeez Louise. So let's find a new stairwell to head down. Can hopefully spread this fight out a little bit so we're not taking down all of them at once. Specifically, the double centaur is very scary. Okay, close the gap as soon as possible. And now with the electric branded dagger, we are able to duke it out and take them down the old-fashioned way. Oh my gosh. Stop that. Stop that. No. There we go. So hopefully those are the only centaurs on the level. Managed to take them out here. Ogre themselves not going to be a problem whatsoever, as we just stack up all the poison you could possibly desire. Not too bad. Was there another corpse here? No. Worth a quick check though, and we find the Book of Conjurations. Let's see what this has in it. Okay, this is just the starter conjuration handbook, so probably not going to be end up using any of those. We'll mark a Scroll of Silence as a potential future buy, same with the Wand of Digging. And then we'll just be back on the move here. Okay, if I can sneak up to you, we're in business. That had high potential to take a quick downward swerve. But we're going to keep stacking up the dexterity here. As soon as this fight goes poorly, we can start running away. Tell our centaur to attack. No? Oh, the Sky Beast is probably invisible. It's the issue. When you can see invisible and your minions can't, you kind of forget to give them the benefit of the doubt here. But hopefully that is enough poison. Fantastic. Still not too shabby, all things considered here. Ooh, another shop immediately on entering D7 here. Glowing hunting sling is kind of interesting. I was thinking about using slings earlier in the run here because we did find a decent number of sling bullets. scattered throughout the levels here. Let's buy it and see what type of brand we're working with here. No brand, but a +4 is pretty solid. So I'm gonna set my dagger of electricity to A, the sling to B, and then I can quick change between the two. We can even test this out with just some stones. Not bad. There is cross training between throwing and slings here, so we don't necessarily have to worry too much about training slings specifically, and we can instead just use them as a nice little intermediary damage addition. Won't scale too well into the far late game, but for the time being, does fantastic work. So we pick up some air magic. Now that's another interesting one. If we look at all of our aptitudes, air magic is one of the few kind of destructive schools that we're actually half decent at. So we definitely could end up doing a bit of a pivot at some point, if necessary. Hello, friend. Maybe we should have just used poison on you, might have expedited the process a bit. But we'll keep it up, just for austerity's sake here. And we're slowly but surely making our way out of the truly scary section of the game. But we're always gonna be a moment away from sheer panic. Because it's definitely a bit of a tough thing to have such little amounts of health going into the late part of the game. One crystal spear from an ancient lich is gonna be enough to completely ruin our day. Hopefully avoid that. Oh, we used up all of our poison darts. I was confused for a moment there as to what exactly happened. We can switch back to our stones, and even when Yvessa goes berserk, we can outrun her, which means we can let the poison tick and let the berserk status wear off so we're not in danger here. And should be just about there. Fantastic. Finish off the duo without too much trouble. Can even bring Doan back from the dead to horrifyingly have to work for his enemies in the next life. Sorry about that, friend, but sometimes we do what we must. And now we'll just kite all these buddies as much as need be. Shouldn't even bother fighting the last halberd one there in close quarters combat, but we're okay. As we add more numbers to our growing army. Excuse me, friends, I'd like to shoot past you. Please don't have too many of you die in the ensuing conflict here, though we will get to replenish our ranks as well. It's interesting getting to roleplay as a little bit of a necromancer without having to actually train anything into that department. Hello, Water Moccasin, you are slightly scary, so I think I will actually recall my allies. Oh, maybe all my allies died already? That's not great. Then we have to just hope we get through this fight quickly, which we do manage to, luckily enough. And okie dokie, I think now's about the time where we should go into our training and rethink some things, because throwing is going great. We'll definitely be consistently using that throughout the entirety of our journey. But I think it's about time that we get some defensive skills online, so let's get fighting training a bit. At least bring this up to 9. Can also potentially could start our shields, but I think I'll stick to dodging for now, take advantage of that nice aptitude to just quickly train up some points there. Hey Ninth, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic day here, and a great start to the new year in general. Probably should have been slightly more cautious hitting the frog there, but that's fine. We can always just start sprinting the other direction. Please do an Iskaya exploit run in the near future. I can definitely try it out. Have to practice a bit to make sure I can actually pull it off. Because I don't fully remember on the spot here the details, but I always like suggestions, so I'm glad to try it out at some point. Should also be raising armies as we go here, accidentally taking so many shots from a centaur. So let's just reset this fight. Turns out we can't just out-tab a centaur with our slings. That makes sense. One of the perks of playing offline. Yeah, still have the right version and everything, because it was patched out of online. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Yeah, I'll gladly give it a shot. Okay, here is where things get scary. Melee. Not great. Anything with a smite ability is extremely dangerous, and to add on to that, the melee are one of the few things that can keep up with us. So we have a 57% chance to hit with Curari. Unfortunately, we don't get that shot. But they are still susceptible to poison, so I'm going to try and stack on a couple of these. Oh my gosh. That's why I'm scared. Ouch. That's not great. So we can kind of out-heal this, but not really. Some bad rolls and it's all over. Still just a 57% chance to hit with anything, which is not great. So I think we'll start with a heal, just to try and put us in a slightly better position. And the question becomes, do I want to run away and hope the poison ticks are fast enough and we get out of sight quickly enough to survive it? Could like try for a dispersal boomerang and hope it lands somewhere good, but there's no guarantees there, unfortunately. Might have been a good idea to injury mirror a little bit earlier in this fight so that smite did some damage back to them. Seems like it might have been smart. In fact, I think I will do it even if it may be slightly too late. So at least now if we get smited, it likely kills the melee. Beautiful. Exactly what we could have possibly been hoping for there, though much scarier than I'd like to admit. So we'll just head back down, and now we'll go back into the usual mode of kiting all these enemies. It's this playstyle that I'm not super comfortable with, just because I normally find myself being lazy at any given opportunity. But it's worth a shot. Oh, that is a real centaur warrior. Huh. I thought with nothing in their hand that it might have been a shapeshifter. Oh, and an ugly thing. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's quickly just scooch around this buddy. Excuse me, don't mind me. Poison you up, and then the centaur, I'm not looking forward to a fight. These are not mobs that you want to see showing up on D8. Normally don't have to deal with, but have to handle whatever cards were dealt here. And so the ugly thing we can kite, and the centaur warrior we're just going to have to get a little bit creative with, I think.